Hello, Tom.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Very well, yourself?
Yeah, getting by, mate. Another day in semi-paradise, no? Another day in lockdown.
Semi-paradise, that's it, that's
Yeah.
it. Tell us something about yourself, Tom.
Well, I'm here in Mataró, which is about 30 kilometres north of Barcelona, where your guest from the other day, Will, is currently residing. It's a great interview, by the way. Enjoyed that one. And well, I've been here nine years. I had to count them myself for a second, but it's been a while, 9 years. And similar to yourself, I'm an English teacher.
Cool.
So yeah, good
All the
stuff.
time, all the time in Barcelona.
Well, I was a couple of years when I first came over here. I was inland a little bit in Granollers, just across the mountain range here, and then after that I moved across to the coast where it's a bit more scenic. And yeah, now Mataró for 7 years.
Okay,
7 years, mate.
And whereabouts in the UK do you originally come from?
South Staffordshire. It's a little town called, well, medium-sized town called Cannock, about 20 miles north of Birmingham.
Okay.
And yeah, dead in the centre, pretty much.
Is that where the dog originates from?
The what? Sorry, mate.
The dog, the Staffy, the Staffordshire
Yes,
Terrier.
yeah, the Staffordshire Bull. Yeah, yeah. I believe it's from. Yeah, I would imagine Staffordshire. Yeah.
Okay, good. So how's life been in the lockdown, the phase 0, the phase 0.5?
We'll have a chat about that, will we? Yeah. Well, it's been difficult. I mean, I described it to somebody the other day as a mixture of burnout and cabin fever that I think a lot of us are experiencing at the moment. It's mentally very tiring, isn't it? I don't know how you've found it, but it's more mental than physical. I mean, we've had the lockdown has affected so many people in many different ways, but mentally it's been pretty rough. And yeah, cabin fever. Just we're all living. This has been my life for the past few months, just sitting here in this little office and churning out my classes as best I can. But
Are you at home? Are you at a home office? Obviously, yep.
yeah, I had to move most of my work online, which was pretty easy to do. Obviously, we've got WebEx, Skype, a multitude of platforms, and lost a fair bit of work, unfortunately, in the businesses and other things. But yeah, it's been okay. I can't complain. I haven't been furloughed. I haven't been out of work. Still managing to get enough in. But yeah, as I'm sure you know, we've had to just shift online everything, haven't we?
Yep. What do you normally do? Do you work for companies? Are you self-employed? What do you do?
A little bit of everything, to be honest. I am self-employed since October,
Okay.
but I've been gradually making that transition over the last few years. But I do a couple of classes in an academy, a lot of stuff from home, and a couple of businesses that I managed to source for myself. Mm-hmm. But you know how it is. You kind of grab whatever you can and try to put it all together. So all levels, all people.
That's it. And from an English point of view, has it been easy to get work over those 9 years? Have you had any problems getting a job?
No, thankfully, touch woods. We'll see how things go in the future. But no, I've never had any problems. Really, my since I got my CELTA, the English teaching certificate, I've never been without work. I was actually planning on going elsewhere other than Spain. I was thinking about maybe Japan or whatever. But when I was sitting at home one day, I got a phone call from Barcelona on a Friday, and they said, could you come for an interview on a Monday? So I had to just quickly pack up and fly across here. And I thought to myself, well, I'll maybe stay a little while, but ended up staying nearly a decade.
There you go.
That's it, yeah.
And what is it about Barcelona that attracts you? Is it the lifestyle? You said it. You're not in downtown Barcelona. You're sort of on the outskirts there in Mataró. But I mean, is it is it the lifestyle? Is it the people?
It's a little bit of everything. I think Barcelona's a great city. It's phenomenal. I won't go over too much that Will was saying yesterday or the day before, but it's a bustling life down there. I like to dip in and out, I'll be honest with you. A lot of people like to live down there in the hustle and bustle of the city. Yep. I prefer more, how would you say, provincial kind of life, I guess. It's a bit quieter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a city. Mataró's still a city, but it's a city that feels like a town, if that makes sense. still people know each other's business. You'll always meet somebody in the street if you go walking. Yeah, just to reiterate, there's 120,000 people living here approximately, but it really is kind of a city that feels like a town in the sense that people know each other's business. You can't really walk 100 meters without bumping into somebody that you know, and that's probably what I like, honestly. You got the cliches now, the weather and the food and all that type of thing, but really I like the people here, and that kind of Mediterranean family atmosphere is healthy, I think, and yeah, it's just a very attractive place to live, and yeah, I didn't think I'd stay this long, and I'm still here, so something's gone right.
That's it. And after all this, I mean, you said it's been pretty tough mentally and mentally draining. Any plans to leave, or have you been thinking about it at all? Because I know a few people have.
Yeah, I don't think so, I'll be honest with you. I think, well, originally this year I had big plans. I was hoping to set up my own place and find a premises to do my own academy and all the trimmings that come with that. But obviously that's on hold. I can't quite go ahead with that at the moment.
Well, to be honest, you're probably lucky that you didn't do it.
Yeah, that's the big one. If I'd have waited or not waited just a few months, that would have been... I couldn't have paid for it, basically. That would have just been the end, basically. Then I would have had to have probably packed in. So, in all honesty, it's been something that I've been wanting to do for a few years, so I can wait a bit longer. And we'll go step by step, reassessing how the economy recovers and see what happens. But no, I've got no plans to leave. I would like to balance a little bit more of my life between here and the UK. I don't go home very often. And I'd like... working remotely and stuff, I think it'd be nice to spend a bit more time in the UK, but there's no plans to go, mate.
Yeah, that's the objective, to try to work remotely, travel a bit more and get out and about. And I think it's a good opportunity now because, as you said, a lot of people have been forced to go online and people have seen the reality of online classes. It's not that different, really. I mean, it's a face-to-face experience. Yeah. You can get some technical issues, of course, but, in general, it works quite well, I think.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's not been much of a transition because I've been doing a few over the last few years anyway, online. It's a different dynamic. I think it works better with some than others. I don't think it works too well with young kids. I don't think you can really control a group. I haven't tried it. People will probably tell you differently, but the youngest students I've got are probably 11 years old. Okay. And I think it does lend itself a little bit better to very small groups and one-to-one classes. But where there's a will, there's a way, and if people focus on it and dedicate enough time to it, you can learn to get by. So it's the future. Online learning's massive. It's going to be massive in the future.
Now, it was mentioned today, we mentioned it at the beginning of the conversation, that we're going into a different phase in Madrid and Barcelona. I presume you're up to speed on what's going on. What's the feeling like? Are people optimistic that they can get out a bit more, or people are just fed up?
It's relief, I think, is the big one. Tempered, I have to say, with caution. A lot of people, as the restrictions have been lifted, they haven't really taken advantage as much as I would have thought. Speaking about my students, because they're the people I speak to predominantly, a lot of people haven't been going out. And the first days, I noticed a load of people. But since then, even just outside here, there's a park and a few areas outside here. They're empty at the moment, and they've been empty all day. It's been a gradual kind of reduction in numbers of people going out, and I don't think people are in any kind of hurry to go out, but they're just thankful to be able to do exercise, because that was the real difficult part, just being cooped up with, especially with young kids. I don't have any, but my neighbours do, and it's tough, really tough.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's right. People were dying to get out into the streets and do exercise. But yeah, I get the same feeling as you, that there is a caution out there. I don't know whether it's fear or people are just still not really sure of what the new situation is, what they can do or what they can't do. I think that also plays into it. People obviously don't want to get into trouble with the police. They don't want to get a fine. No.
But I think, well, to be honest, I think the police have handled this really well. I think they've handled it with common sense. They've not been dishing out fines but they have been
Willy-nilly.
monitoring people. Yeah, but they've been monitoring people. I took the rubbish out, and when I was walking back without my rubbish bags, I got stopped and they asked me what I was doing and what I was up to, and very polite, very nice. There was not a bad conversation at all, but they wanted to know what I was up to, and I think that's being vigilant without being a bully, basically, and I think they've done a good job.
Yeah, it's sort of a mix of people with different opinions, too heavy-handed, bullies, I've heard people say, but I suppose they just get told what to do at the end of the day, right?
I think, there is a bit of an anti-establishment kickback against police doing their job sometimes, and I can only comment on what I've seen. I've not seen any of that really. They're monitoring. They're keeping people from. In fact, I think they could be a little bit more stringent, to be honest, and tell people to pack it in when they see people walking in groups. But obviously, there's a line. It's a delicate line, and you don't want to live in a police state. But I've not seen anything that would suggest that that's what they've been trying to do. They've been doing their job very well, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's it. I suppose it has been complicated, as I said, for people to understand what exactly they can and can't do, what the police have to do, and it's a situation that I've never experienced before. But
we're flying by the seat of our pants a little bit here. We've got to. I think all of us have got to be a little bit flexible and give them a hand. Don't give the police a problem when possible, and I don't think the rules are that complicated that they can't be followed. Just don't move around in groups and all this type of thing, and stick to the times.
And what's the feeling for the economy, both here and there? Are we going to be in dire straits, as some are predicting, or we're going to come back with a vengeance?
Well, there's a couple of different perspectives, I think, especially here in Spain. I would say, I think when you've got a service industry that can't offer its services, then you're in a bad way. And Spain probably needs to follow another model. I think, you could probably comment on this probably better than me, because I know you spend a lot of time in Portugal, and the Portuguese. With a lot of my business students, they're often pushing Portugal as the model. We need to be more like Portugal, invest in tech, invest in different areas, and really try to push the economy into a more 21st century model rather than just...
Well, I think the difference is Portugal had what was known as the Troika, which meant that the Germans and the Dutch and the Northern Europeans controlled the economy for a period of years, and that pushed them in that direction. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Spain chose not to get a bailout and decided to handle it themselves, and that's why we haven't really seen any of those changes. Where I think they were forced on the Portuguese more so. If anybody from Portugal is watching and doesn't agree, just leave a comment. But I think that's what happened. Yeah.
That would be interesting, but for good or for bad, I think they're in a better position. However they've arrived there, that model is now being held up by business students I have here, and they're saying that's what we should be looking for. Investment in different things, and I would agree with that. I think Spain is a country with huge potential, and when people are critical, I think sometimes it would help all of us to remember it's a young country when you look at it in its present state. Since Franco died in 75, it's only 40 something years old, and it's still having teething problems. It's still struggling to adapt to the 21st century model way of doing things. But there's huge potential here. There's a lot of people who are really focusing on their education. We've got room for agriculture. There's a lot of industry, especially Madrid, Catalonia. There's good industries here, albeit from abroad, the majority of them. But there just needs to be a change in thinking.
Change the chip, as the Spanish say.
Start with I think you spoke with, I think it was Nick last week, correct me if I'm wrong, but talking about the autonomos, for example, and just how prohibitive it is to build business in Spain independently, when you should be promoting that, and it's an issue, and they need to get on top of that, because they're missing out on a lot of money, because it's just being funneled through the black market instead of into the social security and all that.
Well, that's a conversation for another day, but the skeptics would say that that's not going to happen now, I don't think, as more people are going to depend on state help.
yeah, we'll have to just keep coughing up our autonomo fees and hoping that they get spent on worthwhile stuff. But yeah, I'm optimistic, but yeah, there needs to be a change, mate. I think they can't just. The lessons to be learned, and we need to learn them. But in regards to the UK, the economy, well, that's it's kind of that's all up in the air for other reasons there at the moment as well. Who knows? Yeah. It'll be okay. I mean, again, without sounding blindly optimistic, it'll work out in the end, by hook or by crook, won't it? But there might be a little bit worse there for a while before it comes back.
That's right, and people will just have to get used to a different lifestyle for a time, for a short time, or for a medium period until we can get back to some type of regularity, I suppose.
That's it, mate. Yeah, and I can't lie; it's not been unbearable. It's just been taxing. You know, I know you were speaking to another Will that you were talking to the other day about the stresses of living in a flat. You're in a flat there, aren't you, mate? I think.
No, I'm in a house. I'm in a house.
Oh, you're in the aristocracy there.
Well, I wish. No.
No, but it's a challenge. It's a challenge living in a flat in this sort of period. Yeah. And I was going to say actually while we're chatting to anybody considering moving over to Spain or buying in Spain. Again, it's probably a video for another time, but just to quickly cover it, soundproofing here in the flats is just awful. Don't know if you lived in a flat before, but
I have done. Yes,
it's just brutal.
I used to listen to my neighbour's radio. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the best. That's the best case scenario, mate, really. I mean, you'll hear all sorts, and it can be quite colourful. But I think there's. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think around anything before 2009 doesn't really measure up in terms of soundproofing, because since 2009, I think they've implemented regulations that say
really? Okay.
There needs to be some sort of insulation. Because, I mean, this flat was built in 2008, so lucky me, right? Yeah. So I didn't get the insulation, and it's noticeable. It's just
So the second loudest country in Spain. What for people noise or just general noise, car noise?
I saw it on a forum the other day, and I think they just said general noise. I would imagine that's pretty applicable to the flats because people are loud. It's just how it is. You know? In the flats without any insulation, you're basically separated by 7 centimeters of brick. Yeah. So I mean, what are you going to do? You have to lump it basically.
It is a point. I have spoken about it in other videos. The loudness of people here. You go to a bar and there's 2 or 3 people, and you think there's 20 or 30 by the noise levels. That's right. All right then, Tom. So we'll start to wrap it up, mate. Have a good rest of the confinement, if you like, or. Mm-hmm. Whatever phase we're in, and thanks for being on. We'll give your business a plug. What do you call your English Academy there?
Well, the hopeful academy that it will be in the next year or so it's Open Door English.
But just how people can find you online, Open Door English.
Open Door English, and it's .org. I couldn't get the .com, but .org. And at the moment it's just me, but hopefully in the future we'll see it grow a little bit.
Well, that's what we hope for, that everybody can grow their business in the future.
That's it, mate.
All right, good one, Tom. Good speaking to you, and
you, mate.
We'll be in touch.
Good to make contact. It's good to chat.
All right, see you later.
Bye, mate. Take it easy.